if you think of yourselves as broadcasters, you know, journalists who are broadcasters, you've lost the battle. You've lost the battle. You know, the broadcast days are over. They're over. You know, I'm seeing jobs advertised now. There was one about 3 weeks ago. It's a journalistic position for a community area online to manage that area, and the job is titled Community Manager. But if you look at the job spec, it's quite clearly a journalism job. All the attributes of that role are what you'd expect a journalist to be doing, yeah? And they're calling it Community Manager. You know, so, as I said, everything's changing, and it's not about going in as a trainee reporter and working your way up anymore. You need to be versatile and flexible to survive out there as journalists, you know? But when I saw this, Community Manager, it got me thinking as well about what social media is doing to communication and what it's doing to journalism and what it's doing to how you're going to communicate over the next X number of years, hopefully as gainfully employed journalists or successful freelancers, whichever particular path you prefer to choose. Community manager. I mean, that's another word for editor, isn't it, in a sense? I don't know, just a thought. Yeah, but you see social media, the audience are getting involved. You can't ignore it, and you can't escape it. You know, so the better thing to do, rather than, you know, we saw an example about 6 months ago on Facebook where Nestle tried to hammer down and delete comments that weren't positive on their Facebook fan page. It caused a massive amount of ruckus. And basically, I mean, it was a great social media how not to do it case study, because the community manager, whoever that was in-house at Nestle, totally destroyed their reputation on Facebook for them. You know, the people that weren't happy with Nestle because of various things that they allegedly had done in certain rainforests involving a certain species of monkey, all of that was irrelevant compared to the way they actually responded to this negative criticism on that Facebook platform. You know, it wasn't retrievable, and in the end they just stopped commenting for a while because there was nothing they could say to retrieve it. You know, and that was really worth watching, because not only was it across Facebook like wildfire for 36 hours, it made national news. It was all over the place. You know, now can you imagine the impact on Nestle as a corporation during that period? Well, I can tell you the impact. Their stocks fell. You know, so, you know, there's a direct financial impact of how misengaging via social media affected that business. You know, and I think that's hugely powerful, that a global brand, because of what's said on a social media platform, can suffer pretty much instantly. So that's something to bear in mind, I think, is that the broadcasting doesn't work. If you try broadcasting to your audience on social media platforms, they won't like it. They probably won't engage with you. They'll stop following you if you're on a platform like Twitter. If you're working on behalf of a publisher or a newspaper or magazine, they'd probably advocate actually that there's a set of in-house social media rules and etiquette to getting that content out there, which is normally a good idea. Because those individual wildfire mavericks that go off on their own, like the Nestle guy, I wonder what he's doing now. I bet he's not still at Nestle, but there we go. It's not going to work. You know. You need to be thinking about, how can I best communicate as a journalist on social media platforms as a collaborative source, you know. So engagement, collaboration, these things are happening, and they're happening now, and they aren't going to stop happening. So as you go out into newsrooms, if you're not collaborating and you're not engaged, where are you? Because if you're not engaged with your audience, there's very little purpose for you as a journalist in this world. It's quite a harsh reality, but that is the reality. If you're not enriching your audience's life, that's it.